She keeps me grounded. She's also taught me to be a better person, to be a bit more compassionate in the sense of understanding. And I just think she gives me inspiration. She makes me want to be better and do better and lead by example.
Mom, you're the best, because I love you because you win the fight. Love you.
I was someone who always wanted to have a child, so I always knew somewhere she would come or they would come. And it just so happened that I got that gap after an injury, and I thought, right, that now's the time.
What was it that made you think this is a good time, this is right?
I think it was a mixture of a couple of things. I think I had an injury at the time, which meant that I couldn't box. It meant I was out. It meant I missed the World Championships. It meant I missed the Olympic qualifier. So it was the time that I was deciding whether or not to walk away from boxing as a whole. I took that risk. I made that step. There was no contingency plan in amateur boxing where there was an option for you to go away and have a kid and come back. It was just like you were either fit to box or you wasn't.
Okay, so let's go back to when you found out you were pregnant. What do you do then in your mind? Do you start thinking about coming back after, or did you know that you wanted to retire?
The reason for the pregnancy is because I'd made my mind up to retire, and that was the hardest decision I had to make because there was no professional scene at the time. So I was effectively saying goodbye to boxing, and it's been such a big part of my life for so long. My focus then went on having my own child. I felt overwhelmed, I felt scared, I felt happy, I felt sad, and I went through a whole mix of emotions. And you know, I used to do bits of training after she was born. I think I'll always train because that's just a part of who I am and what I've done my whole life, but I was never training like an athlete. I was just training to like half keep fit or get back to some form of shape.
Before you had your baby, did you think it just like was something that you had to do after you retired?
Yeah, I think especially for the sport that I do, you've got such small gaps that I thought, right, I'll do boxing for as long as I can, and then when that time comes, then I'll have my children, and that's the way it'll go. And like I say, I never intended to come back, but when that opportunity arose and she's in her own little routine, she kind of filled the void that boxing left. Then she was in her routine and going to school and going to nursery. There was a void again, and I was thinking, well, how do I fill it now? And then the opportunity came to go pro, and I came back.
And how has it changed your body?
I've actually gotten stronger since having a baby. I don't know if that's necessarily down to being pregnant, but just changes you physically. But I think the biggest thing for me was mentally, because when I was an athlete competing, everything was driven towards the result, and the result matters, and that's all that mattered. I didn't have any other distractions other than the result. But now, as a mum, like as soon as I open the door to the house, she doesn't care how far I went. It's just about being mum today. I think now I have that switch off mentally. I think that helps and gives that separation.
When you come back and you feel stronger, where is it in your body that's stronger, and what was it like when you first came back?
It was quite daunting. Like I say, you always compare yourself to what you knew you could do, and you go into your first session thinking that you're going to do them things again, and it's not quite like that. You know, it's a slow process of getting yourself back. It was tough. I never knew if I could get back to where I was, especially weight-wise as well, because, you know, I gained a lot of weight in pregnancy, and boxing's a weight-maintained sport, and, you know, stepping on the scales for the first time and thinking, ooh, that's a big bit over what I used to be, and thinking, how am I going to get back there? I had the most boring pregnancy in the sense of it was just like nothing. I had a bit of morning sickness, not really that much. It lasted about a week. So 5 o'clock, I'm doing a boxing program. I goes to the toilet and I stand up, and then it's still trickling. I'm like, ooh, sits back down. I was still trickling, because like, that's it, stands back up and it's trickling. I'm like, oh, that's not normal. So I says to her dad, I said, Fran, I think my waters have broke. I was a month earlier, obviously, at this stage. So it goes in, they say, yeah, the waters have broke, you know. She hasn't even turned round. She says, so we're going to give you a C-section. I was like, no, I want to try and have her, you know, naturally. So they turned around, like manually turned around.
What?
I know.
Is that a thing?
So they went and done it. They went, like, we're going to try and do it. And they'd done it half. And I was like,
Wait, they're literally grabbing your
so
belly?
they grab they feel where the head is, grab the bum, and spin around.
What does that feel like?
Horrendous. Afterwards, that when they did it, they say we test people first because some people just can't take the pain because it's painful. The boxer in me was just like, don't let them see you cry. Don't let them see you cry. That was on a Thursday. Saturday night, I still haven't had this kid. So I'm losing it by this time. I've been in the hospital for like 3 days and like I've been 2 centimetres. Now you're not actually classed as in labour until you're in 4 centimetres. I was like, look, this is too much. She's not coming. I'll go back to having we might flag. I'll go back. I want the cesarean. I don't want to do this anymore. And they were like, right, because the baby's not struggling and because she's okay and because whatever. And I was like, whoever's telling you that needs to come and tell me to my face. So the doctor comes in. Now bear in mind, I've got all things out, me wires and everything. And I was like, no, look. I know, they've told me the same things at yoga, so you're about to start to say the same thing. So I was like, look, mate, I'm highly stressed. Like, I've been here for 3 days. It was like, right, okay. We can see that, like, even though the baby's not in distress, mum is mentally distressed. Yeah. I was like, so we're going to give you that to Sarah. And I was like, ooh, fine. Finally, they take me in, and yeah, I had her. She was the size of my hand. She was tiny. She had to be kept in for a week because her lungs were undeveloped and she was little and she had jaundice and she had this. It was a horrendous time. That was like the birth. So all up to that was just like not really much of anything. And then I had that.
And what do you think Mela's done for you as an athlete, not just a mum?
She makes me want to be better and do better and lead by example. Hopefully she sees things in myself, in Nikita and whoever else, especially when we're in male-dominated sports, that it's okay to break down barriers and you don't have to follow and do what everyone else wants you to do, or because you can only fit in this little category because, you know, you're a female or you're black.
If you could give your governing body any bit of advice for supporting mums and pregnant athletes, what would it be? Sometimes
I think there's a lot of people making decisions for other people that have never been in their shoes. I think they need to have one more females that have been pregnant and have been athletes in their positions to be able to at least have the conversation. But the main thing right now is that we're having them conversations, because some of the hardest conversations are the ones that we need to have the most. I want there to be an understanding of maybe, okay, I'm not going to be in full training like someone who's going to the Olympics or someone who's going whatever, but there's still things I can do to keep me on that pathway for when I return, because it was simply, you can't compete, you can't box, that's it.
When you decided you wanted to come back to boxing, how did people react?
It was one of the big papers. They'd done like this thing to say, mum back boxing, and it wasn't like, oh, Tasha's back. There was a big thing around because I was a mum. And yes, it was swayed positively as like, you can be a mum and do it. But it was also like, you know, oh, this mum's coming back to a combat sport, like, because you're a mum, you couldn't. Do you know what I mean? So people was like, oh, why? Like, how can she get hit and go back to her daughter? And then other people was like, no, she's a mum and she can, that, you know, she can still go back and still be an elite athlete. Tom Stauffer's got 3 kids. No one says, oh my God, Dad back boxing. You know, no one was bothered. You know, but why? Because I'm a mum, is that any different? I'm just a working mum, it's just that my job's a little bit different. That's how I see it. I don't know why there's such a big thing and why people have took it like a bad way. You know, it is expected of you to be a certain way, to act a certain way, to, you know, do certain things because you are a mum. I love being a mum. Like, she is brilliant, and I love everything that she brings and that comes with her. But I can also be Tasha. That doesn't change who Tasha is, doesn't change what Tasha wants, doesn't change what Tasha believes she can do, what she can achieve, her hopes and fears, and that's still Tasha. Mum is part of who I am, but it's not who I am.